With 2 ounces or more of marijuana, you and I can be imprisoned. Marijuana, also known as cannabis, herb, ganja, pot, weed, and other terms, is a psychoactive herb that is used to alter behaviors and is also used to benefit persons. Hello and welcome to Hiram Productions. I'm Carl Brown. In this documentary, we'll talk about the medical, therapeutic, and scientific reasons or usages of marijuana. Stay tuned.
Well, I refer to marijuana as a plant, not a drug, as a modern day and society would have it. A drug, no. The reason for that being said, marijuana is a it's one of those plants that actually drives you to live holistically, a holistic life, and everything from ingesting, steaming, drinking the tea. Once you consume it, everything that have to do with marijuana pushes you to be on the more holistic side of life. Get me I say? But differently, personally speaking, marijuana is one of those stuff that works for I in more than one ways. It helps with anxiety, one of those things, depression, right? In some instances, it helps certain people with fits, epilepsy, right? You have irritable bowel syndrome, you have countless benefits. But for me, differently, it helps to put in a state of meditation in the sense where I am more calm and centered at that time. Being that marijuana, one of those plants where when it's photosynthesizing, the sun ray takes the sun rays and do what it's supposed to do in the plant itself, and once we consume it in any way, shape or form, it helps to align our energy centers. The spliff is really out of it for I differently, being that the combustion of the herb while smoking, majority of the trace elements are actually gone in the smoke, just like how you have the incense smoke here, so you know. But this differently is good for us in that sense, because we work off of the sense of smell. Being introduced to marijuana from them time there and using it from them time there until now, that is a very long time. I haven't seen marijuana do any harm to people, right? As opposed to what society people say in regarding it kill sperm cell, damage brain cell too. But really and truly, those are 2 things that marijuana actually boosts. You know, it boosts brain activity 1 million times or more. Seeing sperm count now, the only way marijuana can actually disrupt your sperm count, and right now, I'm not even going to use the word disrupt because marijuana disrupts sperm count. The only way that can happen to you is if you compromise marijuana itself. You see man smoke marijuana, they might do it with tobacco, they might do it with thing them from cigarette, they might mix other things with the herb, and you can't do that. Because the herb come here pure, seeing. So the only way, me only see it fit for we consume it the same way, as pure as possible in order for we get what we're supposed to get from Mother Nature. I'm saying the third eye chakra is one of those energy centers in the amygdala we brain bridge. When I say third eye, we actually have an organ in the amygdala we brain where has the same properties as this physical eye. It has rods and cones, it has fluid, you get me I say, but it's not talked about much, being that everything what society do or the system does is to dumb down that particular organ, because that organ is used to look into the spiritual realm. You get me I say, so you using marijuana, as a matter of fact, marijuana has chemical in it that is called DMT, and our third eye chakra, our pineal gland, the same thing, actually produces that chemical. Planting marijuana would be great for the economy and children growing up, because you have children, well, based on the food that parents are eating now, it actually changes the DNA structure of the parent and of the unborn child. So when you have people eating healthier, right, including more raw foods in them live it, seeing less carbonated beverages, more water, which is very necessary, seeing you find yourself in a state always up in the celestial.
Samson Omorigi. I'm a professor of biochemistry at Northern Caribbean University. I'm principally engaged in research studies. The name is cannabis sativa. It's a plant material that is in the opioid region of plants classification. All right, so it has the ability to affect the nervous system in persons, right? It has the good effects and the bad effects. Previously, it was known to have the ability to cause hype in persons when people take it as a drug, like the opioids, as we know. They feel high, all right? So, and they don't really feel the need for any pain or anything like that, but it's actually could be damaging to their health eventually, and it could even cause some mental disorders in persons. A lot of persons that we may see on the street may have gotten some mental derangement as a result of the use or constant use of cannabis sativa. So, and that is why in Jamaica is actually outlawed, and people smoke it a lot, and these days the government sees the need to help people, and therefore decriminalizes the use of just small quantities at a time. There are two major classes of compounds that are contained in cannabis sativa. They are the tetrahydrocannabinol, called the THC, and the cannabinoids, which contain principally cannabidiol, called CBD. Now, if those two classes of compounds can be separated, which has occurred these days, then the THC is the one that causes harmful effects, and the CBDs are the ones that cause the good effects. So if those ones can be isolated and utilized, then people can derive some medical benefits from the use of cannabis sativa. Well, some of the medical benefits, again, are in the nervous system, but in a good way. People can use it for situations like post-traumatic stress disorders. All right, so people who may be having some stressful situations, and it could cause sleeplessness in them, and it could cause them to not be able to focus, and they are having anxiety syndrome. So for these persons, if they use the CBDs, it tends to calm their nerves and help them to become more focused, and they are able to do some things. And in fact, there are situations where people have some nervous tremors. All right, so there are situations where, like, some children have been shown to have some nervous tremors and not able to settle down, and they really shaking, over time. Some even get knocked out. All right, so and by the time they use the CBDs coming from the cannabis sativa, it calms them down. They are able to live their normal lives. Or even some soldiers that have gone to war because of the stress of having to be shooting and experiencing all the hurtful situations at war. By the time they come back, their nervous system, they really experience some nervous breakdown in post-traumatic stress disorders. And then nothing else, situations where nothing else is even helpful to them, and they're able to use the CBDs from cannabis sativa that has been shown to really help them. Apart from that, it could be used for pain relief, like in arthritis. All right. So, and there are some other nervous situations that it could also be good for. For people with Parkinson's disease, it is known these days to also be good for it, and it could also be good for some persons, say for Alzheimer's disease. All right. So when people are aging and they have the tendency to be forgetful, all right, so it could also be helpful. So there are still a lot of things that are still being discovered about the possible uses of the CBDs. So it's a long range, yeah. Yeah, if it is done with structure and good organization, and we are able to derive the good benefits out of it, but to keep out people from taking cannabis sativa as a whole plant, it will be a good thing. I do not encourage people growing cannabis sativa incessantly and people using it as tea, as they do traditionally, because as we do know, they're going to be ingesting the THC as well, which will cause a harmful effects, and it is doing so to a lot of persons. God made life to be precious, and there is no second chance in life for living the life all over again. So it is better that we do things in the proper and the right way so that people can really live the long life in a good order. So I do not encourage people to consume cannabis sativa as a whole plant. Instead, we should extract the good components out of it, and then that could be used medically. So then that would be a good thing. Don't use it any at all as a whole plant. That is my recommendation. All right, so because whether in terms of drinking it as tea or in terms of smoking, it is not helpful, it is injurious. That is the bottom line of it, because it has THC, as we said, which contains up to about 500 compounds, and some of these ones are not good for health. So I do not encourage anybody to be taking it as a plant. Instead, if you have a medical condition, if you have a problem, seek medical condition so that, seek medical help so that people, the medical personnel can really look after your health. And where it is known that the CBDs are helpful and they are utilized, then that would be great. It would be good for people to do that. I do not encourage people to use cannabis sativa as a whole plant. Instead, it is the CBDs that are out of it, that are good for health, that should be utilized.
The name is spelled Visaya, Visaya. Sanskrit word which means to expand or amplify. The ganja minister. By choice, if you want to try it, then go ahead. But please, maybe a little first and build a database, how you feel after using this amount. And then, if you felt that, then stop. But then if you doesn't feel abnormal from using it, then maybe you could increase, you know. So I'm not saying you should not or you shouldn't. It's all up to your choice, but caution. Take a little first, not too much, and then you build your database as to the feeling you get from it. Then you can either increase or you desist. I just want to make something very clear. Now, we must understand that we are living in a very highly manipulated system. And the reason why I have to say this, here we are talking about ganja, marijuana, pot, whatever this herb is being called. Now, for me, I know of this plant when it took 6 months for maturity. Now, we're having this plant been mature 6 weeks, 8 weeks. You see, 3 months. So from 6 months to 3 months to 2 months to 6 weeks. You see the changes? Now, this plant I always wonder and consider, why? Why only this plant is being dealt with in such a manner by the establishment, the governmental authority throughout the world, not just in Jamaica, but worldwide, the people who actually control the system. No other plant is being dealt with in this manner. So ask yourself, why? So here it is now. They say the medicinal value of this plant. They are saying it's now legal. But for me, no plant can be illegal. Absolutely none. So the medicinal value of this plant, yes, it is a fact that it has a lot of medicinal value. And for us to move to the higher realms of awareness, we must be healthy. So you see, medicine makes us healthy. You see, so where this plant is concerned and the manipulation that it goes through tells me that they still don't want us to be healthy physically, which would put us in a state of health spiritually. So you actually can look within to find the true you, the higher being, the most eternal, the real me. It's on the inside. So yes, I will agree. Medicinally, there's so much benefits medicinally that we can speak of. You know, a whole range of medicinal value it has. But as I'm saying, we got to be so very careful with using this plant. For me, because of the manipulation. And if you look at the word manipulation, you will also see man, I pollute. Look at it very carefully. Man, I pollute. And as I said before, we are living in a very manipulated system. So the people who are actually governing and ruling, their main purpose is to keep the masses still in a low state of awareness, for them to still be a slave. So we still have to be very careful about this plant because of the manipulation of this plant. So yes, I have to agree, the medicinal value, and people is gravitating to it, but be aware because of the manipulation. You see, so the CBD, the cannabinoid, CBD, the cannabinoid, which is a part of the chemical component of this plant, which they are now saying equals pharmaceutical, you know, big business. We are talking about medicine, so it's big business, pharmaceutical. But we must remember that everything that comes through this billion-dollar industry, this pharmaceutical industry, you have to be very, very careful of it. It doesn't matter if it's ganja or whatever. Once it is being controlled in this manner by the big wigs, it's manipulation, because just remember, the main thing for them is to keep the masses, who they call the goyim or the cattle, to be manipulated, to be kept low. So you just be a worker and not a builder, you know, a master builder, the true you. When the true you comes out, then you start to delve in other realms, you know, you start to move beyond third dimensional reality. You see, so yes, as I said before, I will agree about medicinal value of this plant, but we have to be very careful how we, you know, because of the manipulation. I personally had to look now into other plants, because you know what, or why? The CBD, which is a cannabinoid, every plant, once it flowers, has CBD. If you look for the word cannabinoid, it simply means a flowering plant. So every plant that flowers has CBD. But because this one is given so much importance, that's the ganja, it seems to me that it has more, you know? But as I said again, because of the manipulation and the modification of seeds. I was born in 1961. Now, so I came in at a time when we had the 6-month plant. Now, 1981, probably up to 1983, you still have that 6-month plant available. Farmers were still planting it. But I remember the first time we had the indica. Jamaican farmers never knew of this before 1981. I remember that on record. When they start fading out the 6-month plant, we start learning of the indica. Then there's another one called skunk that comes on board. And all these for 3 months. 3 months. In Jamaica, we never have that before. Only. Right. Our sensimilia, something like that. Yeah.
So the skunk, is it the same thing as indica?
Well, I wouldn't say that. Probably by genetics and DNA and the manipulation, based upon what I've seen a chart. Sometimes you see the charts that had like 60%, you know, sativa, you know, 40% indica. That is how they rate it, you know. And you know, so I don't know much about that, but based upon what I've seen, you know. But I'm talking about now the seeds that is reaped in 3 months to now 2 months. That's modification. You know, taking, you know, the nature out of nature, put it that way, messing with the nature of nature. Through seeds, Monsanto, you know, seeds control. Well, I don't know of anybody like whom I could actually go see next door, but there is a good example of a brother man in Canada by the name of Rick Simpson. And there's a lot of people that he helped, and people came out and they testify about the help that they get from taking the substance that he gets from this plant, you know, this grease-like substance, you know, and they take it and heal their maladies, you know, and the system actually drag him into court. And a lot of people came out to testify that this thing really helped them, you know, so, you know, that's what I know about like people. I don't know, like, I could come and talk to you physically, but I have a DVD on that. This DVD is called Run From the Cure by a brother man in Canada, Nova Scotia. His name is Rick Simpson. Maybe he's still in prison, or I'm not sure. Well, for me, I cannot recall having any form of maladies that I can say after I smoke, it really helps. It definitely, you know, it's a no-no for me. But, you know, I use it, but I stopped using it.
Okay. So what is your decision? Is marijuana just a herb, and does it have health benefits, therapeutic benefits, scientific benefits? Or is it just a drug, and is it that it will kill us? Thank you for staying with us on High End Production. I've made my decision about marijuana. Have you made yours? Have a wonderful day.